Good morning, everybody. It's Jackanory time again, and you can see I'm on the stage today behind the fence and next to the Twits tree, just taking a look back at the parts of the story that we've done so far. Of course, we spent quite a lot of time in the story outside in the Twits garden, and of course you might remember the tree that had the sticky glue on it that led to all the adventure around bird pie and the custard pies and Mugglewump's idea. Well, we're reaching the end of the story in the next couple of days. So, it's going to be a little bit shorter today because we've got 2 bits to do. And I don't want to start a new story on a Friday. So I'm going to do a shorter section today and then round off the story tomorrow. But before I do, I can hear you all saying, Mr. Denton, where is your trousers and your suit and your jacket and your shirt today? What are you doing? Well, I'll tell you. We've got our old gear on today, old trainers and tracksuit bottoms, because we're beginning, fingers crossed, to prepare for your return. We're hoping it's as soon as possible. So we've been in the classes moving tables and chairs and putting bits up and throwing bits away and cleaning bits, just so that we're ready for you to come back and join us, so everything's deep cleaned, prepared, and the room is not just COVID safe but learning ready as well. So that's why I've got rather messy things on today, and I'm doing this today and tomorrow as well for a couple of days, so all ready for you guys when you come back. Right, enough of that. Let me return to our Twits adventure. And if you remember yesterday, Mr. and Mrs. Twit headed back from the custard pie collections. And Mugglewump and the monkeys and the roly-poly bird and the other birds had all run off to hide, because now was the time for their plan to be put into action. And remember, of course, on the ceiling is the Twits house, but upside down. Let's see what the ghastly twosome make of it when we pick up the story today. I'm going to start by reading the last few words from yesterday's Jackanory. "The filthy, dirty brutes!" yelled Mr. Twit. "I bet they did it all on purpose. Just wait till I've loaded all of these custard pies." Mrs. Twit got the key from under the doormat, where Mugglewump had carefully placed it, and they both went into the house. When they entered the house, Mr. Twit gasped. "What's this?" as he looked at the strange upside-down living room. "What's happened?" screamed Mrs. Twit. They stood in the middle of the room, looking up at all the furniture, the table, the chairs, the sofa, the lamps, the little side tables, the cabinet with those bottles of beer for Mr. Twit, the ornaments, even the electric fire, and of course the carpet. Everything was stuck upside down on the ceiling. Even the pictures, as we know, were also turned upside down on the walls. And the floor, well, they were standing on, was absolutely bare. There was nothing on it. It was just a set of wooden beams, and not clean ones at that. What's more, though, it had been painted white to look like the ceiling, so wooden beams that looked like the ceiling. This was very, very, very confusing to Mr. Twit. He even said to Mrs. Twit, "I'm very confused. What's going to happen next?" "Look," screamed Mrs. Twit. "You see, that is the floor, but the floor is now up there, you silly person, Mr. Twit. And you see, this is the ceiling, and we appear to be now standing on the ceiling. I'm very confused as well." "It must mean that we are upside down," gasped Mr. Twit. "We must be upside down. That is it. We are standing on the ceiling and looking down at the floor. That must be the answer to the question." Mr. Twit thought he was very intelligent at that point. "No, Help! Screamed Mrs. Twit. Help! 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 I'm beginning to feel giddy. All the blood is rushing to my head. I'm upside down. Help me! She obviously wasn't thinking logically about things, guys. And that means so am I then. So am I. All the blood is rushing to my head as well. I must be upside down. Oh, I'm not liking this one little bit, Mrs. Twit. We're upside down and all the blood's going to our head. And that means if we don't do something quickly, we shall die. That's what will happen. I know, it's true. I've got it, cried Mr. Twit. I know what we have to do. We will stand on our heads, just like Mugglewump and the monkeys. Then anyway, we will be the right way up and the blood will not rush to our head. It will rush to our feet and we will be fine. So, rather stupidly, that's what they did. They stood on their heads. And of course, the moment the tops of their heads touched the floor, the sticky glue that the ravens had brushed on a few moments before did its job. They were stuck to the floor that was now the pretend ceiling, if you see what I mean. They were pinned down, cemented, glued, fixed to floorboards, unable to move. Through a crack in the door, the monkeys could see what was happening. They jumped right out of their cage at the very moment that the Twits had gone inside. And the roly-poly bird was watching too. And all the other birds flew in from outside to catch a glimpse of this extraordinarily silly sight. Oh, guys, talk about daft. How silly can the Twits be? They actually thought they were upside down and now they've fallen straight into Mugglewump's plan. Their heads are stuck to the floor. They think it's the ceiling. I think they deserve it, guys, don't you? I'm really pleased Mugglewump's plan's working and that the roly-poly bird and the other birds can see it too. But we have one final part of our story to tell, and that will be tomorrow, when we find out what happens at the end to Mr. and Mrs. Twit, and of course to our friends, the monkeys, the roly-poly bird, and the other birds as well. So, for now, take care, stay safe. I'm going back to sort those classrooms to make sure they're ready and safe for you when you return. And we've got one final episode from Jackanory 2, The Twits, tomorrow morning. Stay tuned, guys.